you. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be back in SP Jain. I just wish I was there personally. But thank you. Thank you so much. So 22nd July 1982, that's the day I entered SP Jain to start my MMS degree, as it was called then, because I wanted to make a big name in the corporate world. It was a dream that got fueled when I was in Sophia College. It's a college that really opened my eyes to the infinite possibilities in the world. And I was very lucky that I have parents who gave me the wings to follow my dreams and go anywhere that I wanted. SP Jain changed my life in multiple ways. I found my life partner there in SP Jain 38 years ago. I was also introduced to the world of advertising and marketing, the magical world, and I made a career in advertising. And I loved every minute of it. 15 years I was there and I loved every minute of it. And it surprised me then that advertising, which focuses so much on human beings, on talent, which is there amongst people. I mean, the biggest assets are its people and their talent. Yet, in those days, there was no HR department for any advertising agency, in any advertising agency. And I wondered, why would people not invest? Why would advertising agencies not invest in people? It just seemed so obvious to me. Of course, there would be the one-off training program that one would go to, but that's about it. And surprisingly, none of my bosses had any answer to why, they were not investing in people. So that's really the crux of what I'm going to talk about today, because I think it's so important for each one of us to invest in people, whoever we are, wherever we are working, whether it's in a corporate organization, NGO, school, in a relationship, as a parent, whatever, because that is what will define what you do, how you do, and so on. 5 years ago, CMCA, the organization of which I'm a trustee, we did a study on India's youth to understand what people like all of you here in SP Jain really think about. What do you believe in? And I dare say maybe some of you were even respondents to the survey that we did. So we called the study the Yuva Nagarik Meter. And I'm going to share just a few findings from that study. As I said, it was a study done with teenagers. So what this will tell you is what the teenagers were thinking 5 years ago. This is what they told us. Can we see the slides? So 53% said that rather than a democracy, they favored military rule. Next. 43% said it's okay to break rules because you can always get away by bribing. 45% of teenagers said that women dress and behave in certain ways to provoke violent reactions from men. Both men and women said this, girls and boys. 50% college students expressed intolerance regarding migrant workers from other states. 65% college students believe that boys and girls from different religions should not be encouraged to meet in public places. So these are some of the findings that we found. And I guess some of it may shock you, some of it may even surprise you, or maybe not. I don't know, because you are the youth, you are the people who answered this survey. But what we did find also in this study is that there was a very strong correlation between what the respondent said and how the respondent was actually brought up at home. So if the person was brought up in a very strong patriarchal family where women were not allowed to work or women had no voice, then that teenager also believed that women should not be allowed to speak or they should be confined to the house and so on and so forth. So very clearly, how you are brought up defines who you are and what your attitudes are. Because obviously people are seeing their parents, other people in society, and so on. And the tragedy is that the education system did not make anyone actually question any of this or, wonder why these age-old beliefs and traditions were going on. And that is such a shame because India is the youngest population in the world. We have the largest workforce. You are the people who are going to drive the economy. You're going to be the backbone of this country. So it's really a shame if you are only going to be skilled on what you need to do in your job, as opposed to learning to live peacefully with others, learning to have empathy, understanding and accepting diversity. In fact, accepting it very happily. Yeah. Because if you don't do that, how can you work in the workplace? There are so many people from all over the world, all over the country. Yes. And these are, in fact, key qualities that the World Economic Forum has also said are absolutely critical for the workplace. It's not your knowledge about computers, it's not English language, nothing. It's about these values of empathy, critical thinking, creative thinking, all of these which are important. And this will not only prepare a youngster to do well at work, but also as a citizen of the world, because one needs to be concerned about one's environment, whether it's people, animals, natural resources. You need to have empathy. And at the same time, people have to be empowered to bring about real change. So am I just talking through the hat and, just believing that all this is a wish list? Well, let me share some stories with you. So we have the story of young Lavanya. She lived in a small village in rural India and she had no toilet in her house. She learned through our sessions that it's important to have a toilet for her own health and hygiene and that of the family. She also learned that funds were available in the panchayat through the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So she told her father to go and get the funds and build a toilet. Father typically did not pay much attention to his daughter and said, yeah, we worry about that later. But she insisted and she eventually did get a toilet and she was so thrilled. She told the whole village about it and 60 other people in the village got toilets and word spread to other villages and hundreds of others got toilets done, all thanks to her. And I am told today she's a brand ambassador for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. That's story number one. Story number two, about courage. We had this young girl in one of our schools in Bombay who was repeatedly being sexually abused by her stepfather. And the mother even knew about it, but chose to keep quiet. But our education actually gave her so much courage that she spoke up about it in school and, then proper action was taken and the stepfather was finally arrested. There's the story of this young boy who was again in rural India and his family owned a restaurant. And he saw that in the restaurant, there was an underage boy who had been employed by the family. And he knew that was wrong. And he was so strong in his conviction that he actually forced his family to make sure that the boy was no longer employed in the restaurant, but instead sent to school. Like this, we have hundreds and hundreds of cases. We have stories where children have actually called up government helplines and got civic issues fixed. Our children in rural India, they take part in children's panchayats and they talk to government officials and ask them for basics which they don't have. It could be a road, it could be water, it could be a street light, whatever it is. And I'm sure you'll agree that for a 12 or 13-year-old to do all of this requires tremendous, tremendous courage. And that is what we give them. We empower them with that courage. And I know that if you do that, something happens within them because we are teaching them empathy also. And then they know what to do as citizens of this country, which is not only for their own good, but for the good of the others too. So in my own life, I have tried to live by this example of trying to empower people as much as possible. And every decision that I took really held these values high. including the decision to take a pause on my career to bring up my daughter. Because I knew that if I wanted her to be independent, strong, have empathy, have confidence, be caring, then I needed to invest my time in her. I shifted from advertising to the NGO world, and that also came from the same desire to invest in others because life had given me a lot and I was extremely grateful for it. I may not have become this big corporate name, that's fine. My dreams had changed by then. And I think that's fine. It's good for your dreams to change every now and then. So I think it's one of the best decisions that I took because it really made my life much more meaningful. I was able to do something which brought so much joy to others. And even in CMCA, we've actually believed in empowering people. So even our educators, for example, most of them are volunteer educators who may or may not have actually worked in the formal workspace. But we train them, we empower them, and then it makes such a difference to them that they are then able to go out and make that difference to other students when they go and teach in class. So with everybody, be it students, be it principals, be it donors, I think the key thing is to really invest in each one of them. And when I say invest, it's really about listening to them, understanding them, and working together to make it meaningful for both. Because then you can build a relationship beyond the immediacy of your work. Of course, it takes time, it takes effort. So I think if you listen from your heart, life offers you enough opportunities. The pandemic also brought its own opportunities and own ways of helping people, which we all participated in, be it food drive, be it a sanitary pad drive, or even helping people in the building, senior citizens who had difficulties. So if you look at everything that your immediate neighborhood offers you, you know you can do something to make somebody else's life better, happier, etc. So just listen from your heart and you will get the strength and the courage to spark change. Thank you.